How's it going, everyone? It's Jay from Lords of War. I hope everyone's enjoying the start of summer. I guess end of spring. Today we have another video where I'm blending a sword. Mostly just, I like to kind of... it's probably one of my favorite things to do in the hobby. Here we have the sword from the Wraith Lord kit. The last model I need to finish my Craft World Combat Patrol. Basically, I already had an army, but I didn't have the contents of that box kind of finished. So I needed to do some jet bikes, which I posted about the other day, and I needed to do a Wraith Lord because I already had the Guardians, and I have several Farseers painted, so that on foot painted, so that kind of takes care of itself. So I was like, well, I mean, it's pretty cool. I think this new kind of game format they're coming up with has potential to be kind of a fun alternate mode of play. We're so used to just playing these like big full-size games 40k, and we still will for sure. Looking forward to using my whole collection, but I think having a mode where you can kind of pick a box off the wall and it has like a small army in it, and you can just play with it right away, and it's got, it's supposed to be balanced against each other, the other combat patrols, and yeah, I think they've shown really well, or Games Workshop has shown with the kill team range that works well. It sells very well. People like the set kill teams. Like they just kind of like buy a box, build it, paint it, and then they just play with that. They don't have to like worry about complex list construction or roster construction. They can just kind of know that what they have is viable against whatever their buddy has or whatever. So I think there's some value there even for regular 40k. It plays on a smaller table, so I'm looking forward to maybe getting some small games here upstairs at the shop, because it'll fit on my paint table here if I want to do that. So that's good. A little oopsie there. Had to get it quickly. So that's good. That's exciting. Long term for my Craft World army, I still have a lot to do. I have a big collection already, but that's painted. But I still the one section I'm kind of missing is all these Wraith constructs. So Wraith Lords, Wraith Knights, Wraith Guard. Those traditionally have fit, like they're kind of their own army. Like they usually become the Yandon, the Craft World that's made up of all the Wraith constructs. And the Wraith constructs are basically every Eldari has like basically wears something called the Soul Stone, and if they fall in battle, then they come back and collect the Soul Stones, and they can put you back in a robot body. It's not the same as your previous life, but it's something, so it allows them to they have to be creative, they're a dying race, so find a way to replenish the stock. I mean, I think the Common Guardian is like a citizen militia. They're not even like regular, they're not warriors or soldiers. They're just kind of like, well, you have no choice, because whatever's attacking you, the forces of chaos or something, want to destroy your race, something like that. But anyway, so that's what I've got going on for that. It's kind of probably what I'll be working away on over the summer months for 10th Ed. Just trying to get games in, learn the new edition, which is shaping up. I mean, I know hasn't been a lot. Like, they've done little faction focuses, every day, which is like good. I know some of my customers who like play more often than I do have some concerns because they're like, well, this army feels gutted now, and this, and I think there's some, on one hand it's true, it's a little shocking to see these like changes, but I think there's also like something to keep in mind. It's an edition where they're kind of, they're starting with no codexes. They're kind of wiping all the codexes down or flattening them down. So everyone's kind of adhering to this like abiding by the same kind of limitations, I guess you could call them. But I think it will be okay because everyone will be on this kind of level playing field. And the early days will feel a little weird. It'll be a little bit Wild West. It's going to be like, especially the first few tournaments in the summer, you're going to see some wacky, wild, someone's going to bring a list that makes no sense in previous editions, and it'll be really good for a short time because it'll fit in a world where everyone hasn't had their like optimized codex released with like loads of special rules. But I mean, also a lot of what they're doing is moving to the data sheet. So this is something you see in Age of Sigmar a lot, where a lot of a model's rules aren't predicated on what faction they're in, but more like what just on their baked into their war scroll. So sometimes you have a data sheet or war scroll where the model has just an amazing special rule just like written on their card, so they get it no matter whatever army they're in, they always get it. So I think we're going to see a lot of that when we get into, I think we've already seen a little bit of that, like just looking at the craft world. I think, what is it, the Farseer has like baked in rules for fate dice and stuff like that, and so there's a bit of an example there of how I think you're going to see that across. And most of the faction focuses, I think all they did was they just kind of showed us like one or two things and a bit of the overarching army stuff, so like whatever the kind of the signature rules will be. So again, I don't blame people. It's a little shocking what we were used to in 9th, where books had like so many stratagems and special rules and flavors. So it's going to feel a little gutted, but over time that'll get flushed out and everything will be fine. Some things I'm really liking about the kind of signature changes to the edition is like a better. You're gonna see a larger difference in the, like, they want to really define the unit roles and weapon roles. So things like you're seeing tanks that are like, I don't know, tough 14 or something, and then you're seeing anti-tank weapons that are strength 18, and all those things will, those types of tanks were always going to be tough for an infantryman to punch, and anti-tank weapons are always going to melt an infantry guy, so that it's not going to matter too much in those situations. But I think it enables, I think what it's really doing is it's eliminating the common thing we've seen for many editions of 40k, where the best gun or guns that you would take are those medium strength guns, those like strength 6 and 7 weapons that were effective against basically everything, because you could, if you rolled enough shots, you could kill even a heavy tank with those, and they'd often be damage 2 or more, so they would be good against Space Marines and Death Guard, and they'd have some decent rend and good range and rolled enough dice, and just kind of like, it's a catch-all weapon that you would take as many of as you could. Think of like Harlequins with that Void Weaver or whatever it's called, and its prism gun or whatever it had. It just kind of was great against everything you could come across. So what people do, they'll take 12 of those, and and it was also on a platform that was quick. So I think there's an effort to mitigate that. So you have tanks that are much tougher on their base profile, then those guns just aren't useful against them. So then you got to really specialize in your anti-tank weapons, which I think is fine. That's like creates situations where you have to kind of like bring the tools for the job, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So pretty excited about that change. Yeah, otherwise it's just going to be like the rare time where, you know, nobody knows what's good. Everything is, you know, usually when editions change too is, you know, whoever had the most recent codex is still, you know, the king or whatever, because all the codexes are still in play, so you have this like very have and have not feeling, and I'm hoping that that's also a little bit mitigating because everyone's kind of starting from the bottom. This is the most annoying part of this whole thing, is getting that center line punched up. So if you're curious, I'm using doing these like little intricate blending on these like angular shapes. It's really handy to have a brush that has a little bit of stiffness to it. You want to go too flexible. So this is actually we can carry these for a little while. They're pretty good. These Da Vinci Zeros. Oops. They're pretty cool. Anyway, it's time to go. Hopefully everyone has a good one, and we'll see you next time.